the campus reaction, and today we'll be reacting to Jim Cornette reviews Danhausen's WWE debut at Elimination Chamber in 2026. Now, some people think that like they booing at him and stuff like that, but they wasn't booed, because I saw the clip on Facebook about it, and they said like of Danhausen's debut, they opened a crate and they got the casket door open, and you got all the women coming out and stuff. You hear Danhausen's thing coming out, and then next thing when Danhausen came, everybody started cheering, like everybody cheered for him, and then Danhausen gave him Michael Cole dentures in a bottle or something like that. He gave him dentures, and then all of a sudden they when the lights going out, the crowd started booing and stuff. That's how I look at it, how I observe it and everything. So yeah. So we're gonna check and make sure we're gonna check it out. If you haven't checked Jim Cornette's his page, and the link on the description will be on the description down below when I get done. And yeah, let's go get this finished. So let's get to it. Hold on. Shoot. Alright, let's go.
Jim, we have one more big match to go, but in some ways the real main event was the big reveal WWE had been teasing for, I don't know, a week and a half. That a box, a crate, that for some reason was being sent back and forth between shows, needed to be opened at this pay-per-view event, this premium live event.
Yeah.
And here we are, Jim. Everyone thinks of you when it comes to a big reveal coming out of a box. Let's go to you for your expert commentary on this history-making moment.
Well, I believe I will hearken back to, was it last week's drive-through, or was it on the experience? I said, look, the origination of the whole thing is down through wrestling history, and I enumerated some examples of baby faces that had come out with mystery boxes that may have or may not have the heel's name on it or whatever. And basically, I said, if you bring a box out there and you make a big deal out of it for a couple of weeks, who is this? Who's it for? Where's it from? Or maybe we know who it's from. Or maybe we know who it's to, but we don't know who it's from. But you make a big deal out of it. And then when the moment comes, someone that people know, a star or a returning person or a special bounty hunter or whatever, or someone to embarrass the manager, bursts out of the box and makes a fucking impact by doing something chaotic or impactful, and that's why everybody comes out of a box is over. Okay,
just right quick. If we don't know who Jim Cornette is, he's the one that's been in wrestling for a long time, like even before I was born. But sometimes I disagree with some of the stuff he did, but hey, at least I give him a lot of credit. But he really do cuss a lot, so if he does start to get cussing and stuff, hey, it is what it is, bro. I'm free to do whatever kind of videos I'm made and everything. It's gonna be a lot of cussing, so shit. Let's get to it, man.
Except if you don't do any of those things. And if you don't do any of those things, then you've just got a guy coming out of a fucking box. And so they didn't, after they started it initially, they didn't really make a big deal of it. Then they didn't make a lot of fanfare when they brought it out here. Then when they opened it, it was not only somebody that most of the people live didn't know who the fuck it was, but it was preposterous. And they didn't do anything. And then they were gone. So
At home, they were gone. Clearly, in the building,
well,
you got to see where they went.
but not quickly enough. They didn't leave quickly enough. The point is, they announced the attendance in the building, 19,346. Boy, howdy. And then, suddenly with no fanfare or announcement, and now, ladies and gentlemen, this crate that has been appearing, or whatever, the crate's sitting on a stage. And there is Aldous and Pierce on either side of it with a crowbar, and they fake pry the front off, and the front falls, and there's a coffin inside the box. And then did you see Nick and Adam just looked at each other and turned and walked away like, okay, now we've done what we need to do. Let's get out of here so we don't get any on us.
Oh, because of ads.
When I used to think
Damn.
about taxes, I would just
Hold on.
And then the coffin door opens, and you can see through it. There's a curtain in the back, and somebody's ruffling the curtain. You can see light coming through. And then here comes dancing girls. And they're all made up in vampire outfits like Danhausen. And they come, and then here comes Danhausen. And the...
Hold on, before we do it right quick. Now, I saw on Facebook that Danhausen's wife was in one of them girls on his debut at Elimination Chamber. I did not know that. Shit, I did not know that, bro. Wow. Hey, at least like the crowd, like when Danhausen came out, the crowds like really cheered for him. Like they really cheered. You know, the honors don't get why y'all don't pay attention about that. You know, because some like people say like, oh, they got booed and stuff. No, they really cheer for him. You know, so
song was saying Danhausen over and over. And I couldn't hear much of the rest of it, and I'm not sure that I wanted to, but every once in a while you'd hear Danhausen. And they go to and the people at first were just stunned, like, is there more? Is someone that we know coming out? And then it wasn't, and then it's silence, and Danhausen goes to the ring and gives Michael Cole a jar of teeth. And the people are just sitting there farting. And then they get in the ring and they do 10 seconds of like a dance routine where you're Danhausen, Danhausen. And then I swear to God, instead of a big pyro explosion or a bang or just a blackout or whatever, it was like it was supposed to be a rib. They just let off a puff of smoke that looked like that. Remember the time the exploding ring at AEW exploded, but it didn't explode? It just went poof.
mm-hmm.
This was a poof. And then that was supposed to signify the lights were going out, and he disappears in a poof of smoke. Except the poof just happened. Then they turned the lights out, and then from all the fan cam footage, everybody in the building could see them all drop down on their bellies and roll out and hide under the ring. And I'm wondering when they got them out of there. You think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning?
Underground tunnel.
Now, you think the United Center put the underground tunnel in there just for Danhausen? Got the jackhammer out, fuck the basketball court. But I mean, look, already he's selling merchandise because there are people around the world who know who Danhausen is and like the merchandise. But these people specifically there, all 19,346 of them, most of them are just WWE fans, and they probably did not know and certainly didn't give two shits. Now, I mean, if he'd have come out and beat somebody up, that may have been, but the problem is, who the fuck's he gonna beat up? Because that's what. Tell me what you thought about this reveal before we go into his future projects.
Well, that's a loaded question. I think the problem is the fans had expectations, whatever they were and however unjustified they were.
They were bigger than this.
It was Chris Jericho or above. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be like that. And it shouldn't have been. And it's wrong that anyone thought it was going to be. Instead, it's someone who's probably going to be doing skits with R-Truth. And El Lizard. Not El Lizard. That was the guy who used to work for Dennis. What's the name of the lizard guy? Iguana. Mr.
The Iguana. The Night of the Iguana.
Well, El Lizard was one of the worst workers in New Jersey back then, but that's a whole other story.
Hold on. Okay, so everybody know Danhausen. This is, I don't know if you see it, but this is him right now. That's Danhausen. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. He's the one wearing the mask, like a black and red and white mask, and so yeah, that was Danhausen, what they talking about. And I think they're wrong for that. No, I think that when Danhausen came to it, the crowd, like, it just, they cheered. Like, they really got messed and cheered, but when it comes to the end of it, when Danhausen did all this stuff, then the crowd just went silent, went booed. That's really what happened. You know?
There were expectations. And I think maybe, who knows? Nick Khan had expectations that there would be more fans aware of who this wrestling character is. A lot of people pointing to Jim Cornette, saying Jim Cornette helped make him famous, playing his cameos.
Now, wait a
back in
minute.
the day.
How come everything's my fault?
I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out for, fair time. Point out that
Well,
you're getting a lot of the blame for your guilt.
Well, now, hold on now. I've never said he wasn't a nice kid. And when we first saw him with the very nice, very evil, weird promo, we said, oh, this is a chuckle. But how does this apply to wrestling? It's kind of like Harley Cameron. And once we saw him wrestle, we kind of said, well, he shouldn't do that anymore. But he's a wonderful kid with a quirky gimmick and personality. Should he be the guy?
Because the match.
Rebound.
To take over when Svengoolie retires and get rid of the other two pinheads they've got on the House of Svengoolie. Maybe that
Well, the one guy's good.
is,
Nostalgia Ferratu also does Tune In With Me. I don't want to put him down. He's
he can go do that show.
on the right side of content.
But the thing is, you're right in that Nick Khan probably doesn't realize the extent that there is a disconnect between his fan base that purchases tickets, especially to the live events, and the niche crowd that would know the AEW talent and would know some of the international talent and is buying the merchandise. Because I would imagine they didn't sell a ton of it in Chicago, but now that everybody around the world, as we said, knows Danhausen is there, yeah, he's going to sell some merchandise. But the thing is, what can he do here?
Okay, so I think that part where it said, like, when Danhausen sold his merchandise and stuff, I saw, like, on Facebook when Danhausen got the T-shirt, we got Danhausen, it said curse in the back. That would be like the most selling. He probably get the most selling merchandise in the history of WWE if the writers know what they doing and knows what he gets into, you know. So yeah, it's like It's like with Jey Uso. Jey Uso got that on the Yeet shirt. Everybody was yeeting for him. I don't know, and the crowd still like cheering for him. They got most yeeting and everything. You got Cody Rhodes, like everything got over. And you got LA Knight, and Lord, please let LA Knight win. I just want LA Knight to win at some point. I want him to win because he was super over. He was super fucking over with the crowd and stuff. He went over. They cheered for him, man. Jesus Christ. Like, come on, WWE. I want my LA Knight to win. He's a bastard.
He can't wrestle here. It would be preposterous. Is he a quirky character that comes in and out and, like you said, maybe does skits with R-Truth, or does what else? But he can't. I mean, he's tiny for AEW standards, but here it looks preposterous, even more preposterous.
You've said that now several times. It's important to note the fans in Chicago. We keep talking about the fact that fans didn't know him. They booed this. They did not.
Oh yeah, no, because it stunk.
No, they don't.
Booed like crazy.
And those were two of
No, they don't. You pay attention, if you fucking pay attention to what Danhausen came, when he came to the entrance on his debut, everybody was cheered for him. Everybody cheered for him. Like, go and seriously, pay attention, listen, watch the video of it, and you realize, you know what I'm talking about, bro. They didn't boo it because they literally just close to booed and nearly close to the end of it. Because of his debut,
Well, my thoughts. Danhausen hasn't been seen on TV in years at this point. AEW had him under contract until just recently and apparently ghosted him. And he was off TV for, better part of 2 years?
Yeah, at first he was hurt, and then he was just, they didn't bring him back.
So now you're bringing him here. My first two thoughts were, oh no. And then my second thought was, if there was a fucking Danhausen horror movie surf guitar dance party show, I'd watch it every week. I'd watch it every fucking week. But I'm dreading where this is going to go right now on WWE TV, where we need less backstage skits. You're about to get someone who I would think primarily will exist either in backstage skits or sneaking around ringside, giving out strange gifts or curses.
Well, and you mentioned earlier, the thing with this young fellow is that it didn't get over in Chicago because they had expectations. And when they first did the crate, and we talked about it, could it be Jericho? From the first night when Aldis and Pierce were making over it, why, what is this? Is it yours? Is it mine? Whatever. You would think that there was going to be somebody, and that's where the expectations came from. People have already been thinking that Jericho was going to show up sooner or later. Maybe later now than sooner, but that's another story. But so they thought, okay, that's where that led them. And maybe the WWE wanted people to believe that. But then on the next SmackDown and on the next, as they didn't really make a big deal out of it, after that you could tell, okay, it's something else. But why do this in this way when they could have had a coffin out there that would have been more interesting than a crate, wouldn't it? Who's in the fucking coffin? Well, but then people would have thought it was something to do with the Undertaker.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as they showed a coffin,
even more disappointed.
Yeah.
So that it just, you can't do something like this unless people know who the fuck's coming out. And or, even though they knew Chainsaw Charlie was Terry Funk, when a guy comes out of a crate by a chainsaw in it, well, that makes an impression. But this, dog and pony lighting show and, David Copperfield cable access type of thing, they were just like, what the fuck is this? That's why they sat there in silence, and then they booed.
Well, here's the problem. It was someone they weren't familiar with doing this. If this was a star doing it, they would have still booed. Because it still would have been, what the fuck is this? Where's
Because
he
he still
going?
didn't do anything.
Yeah, it went nowhere. And then you watched them crawl under the ring. If you were in the house, you saw them crawl under the ring. And you know that's why the boos got a little louder. Because they're like, they can still hear us. Boo! They're still there. I feel bad. Like you said,
We can see you.
everyone I know who knows him says he's like the nicest guy in the entire world. And I feel bad that he got booed.
Okay. That was me. He didn't get booed, okay? He didn't get booed. Alright? He got cheered.
But this was, if you were going to do something with Danhausen, this was not the way to do it to get a good reaction.
Well, it was gobbledygooker. It was a modern gobbledygooker. And I thought they'd have learned about that one the last time.
That egg was on TV for weeks. I think at least a month, if not longer than a month.
Well, because remember, you might not remember because you were only fucking 6 or whatever, but at the actual time.
10, but yes.
Okay, well, that was supposed to be Flair. Because Flair showed up about the same time, but for the smart fans, they just knew it was Flair. And that's why, again, not only did the gobbledygooker not get over with any fans that were anywhere, whether they were smart fans or not, but the smart fans just roasted it because they thought it was going to be Flair.
I was 10 years old. I didn't think it was going to be Ric Flair. But I didn't know what it would be. It had to be something. I mean, they're spending a lot of time and giving this egg the entire interview podium. It has to be something. When it was a dancing turkey, because I didn't know who Hector Guerrero was, and I didn't know that was him. I just knew that a turkey came out, and you're waiting, okay, is the turkey going to do something? Is the turkey going to demask, and it's Big John Studd? Like, what's about to happen? No, he went in the ring, and he did a do-si-do with Gene Okerlund. And those fans who ate up WWE shit, they booed that. Yeah. It wasn't a win-win. It wasn't a situation for a win for Danhausen here. And again, I don't know what they're going to do unless they're going to start doing their own content with him hosting public domain horror movies, which isn't the worst idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what. They got a whole crew of female dancers that painted their face. I mean, what? I mean, they spent time on this. They spent a lot of time putting this together. And what did they think was going to happen? And who's saying I told you so? That's the other problem. It wasn't like everyone wanted him on this show.
Well, that has been reported that there was a divided camp. Some people were in favor of bringing him into the fold, and some people were like, what? And we don't know who's on what side yet or not, but the what side got a kind of a moral victory at the start.
Do you ever wish The Rock would show up and just book everything for one night to throw everything off kilter again, just to put everything right?
No, I still don't hope that.
I'm kind of there now. Please come back. Dwayne, please come back. Please. I take it all back.
Dwayne, come back, Dwayne.
Come back. Get off the farm.
What's
Okay, for those of you know who Dwayne is, they realize it was The Rock. That's why everybody keep talking about The Rock. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with the beef between him and Triple H before when he went over south, but hey man, I don't know, man. Let's wait and go see, you know. I mean, I don't know if Cody Rhodes will be able to be a babyface or be a heel, so we don't know for sure. But we're gonna see on Friday Night SmackDown. Tomorrow night.
What's Brandon DeWilde doing these days, huh? How about that? Google it, kids.
Well, again, Danhausen, a popular wrestling personality on the independent scene, got the AEW deal. They barely used him. A lot of people seem to think he was punished for who his friends were. And I guess we'll see what happens. Very happy for him. very worried about the state of WWE television. But Jim,
Yes.
some segments are, dare I say, a 5-star.
Well, I'm gonna stop right here, man. Yeah, but that's their opinion. They say the crowd got booed and everything, but I totally disagree because the way I pay attention, I watch on my Facebook page, and they show like Danhausen when he come out, the crowd's like cheering, like they get a loud cheer. He gave him out called the dentures and the bottle thing, give it to him, and then all the women dancers around him, including his one wife, was one of the dancers. So yeah, but it was cool. It was a cool moment. To me, it was on Elimination Chamber. I didn't even get to see Elimination Chamber because it be on ESPN app, and it costs like $39.99 a month. I'm telling them I cannot do it. I cannot buy an ESPN app, bro. But I just wish they bring the pay-per-view stuff back on Peacock. Instead of like, I know what they're trying to do. It's like TKO. They got all the money and all the stuff in the world and everything, but it sucks that they changed it from Peacock to ESPN. That's why they changed it to that. So it was kind of sad, but at least they got Saturday Night Live. I can watch for free on Peacock. So yeah, but that's all the reaction I had, man. I just wanted to give y'all a heads up. And my next was gonna be on. I'm gonna be doing to millennials versus Gen Z. So just keep on being on the lookout and everything. So yeah, but that's all the reaction, man. It's your boy the Kevin, and Jim Cornette's gonna be in his description, link on the description down below. Let me know, comment, like, and subscribe to my channel, man. It's your boy the Kevin. I'm gonna see y'all next one. Peace.